Renewed Mind Revolution Podcast. A place that empowers, encourages, and informs. We're breaking through, we're rising strong. A brand new mindset where we belong. Empowered voices, hearts aligned. Encouraging truth, renewed in mind. It's the revolution. Let your spirit soar. We're here to lift you, give you so much more. Encourage and power, informed with love. A renewed mind journey, grace from above. Stepping in the purpose of wisdom lead, planting the seeds of faith we need. Hope ignites and visions clear. The revolution's calling, we're here. Empower the new.
Hello, and welcome to Renewed Mind Revolution podcast with your host, Michelle Kakal. As always, it is my honor and my pleasure to share some tips and some tools with you that I know would assist you in becoming a better version of yourselves. Listen, today we have something great. We have a co host, which is something I never ever have on this show. on this show. But it's the first of the year, and I want to do something different. So I want you guys to please welcome my husband for almost 30 years, Mr. Ricky Hall. Mr. Ricky Hall.
All right.
Okay, look, he has so much information to share. That's why I decided to bring him on today. I didn't know how it was going to work out today, but look, God worked it out, right? So he has so much experience in this particular topic. We're going to revisit a guest that we've had before, and this is Dr. Heather Robinson. And she is the one who spearheaded Educators Rise Voices of Change, the DEI Impact Anthology, Bridging the Gaps, Volume 2. Volume 2. Listen, last year I learned some things. I really did. I learned some things because I was sharing last year when you brought these wonderful people, educators and entrepreneurs on, and you brought them on, and they were all talking about DEI and the level of education. I didn't realize at that time the resources that come with the DEI programs, right? I didn't understand the impact that would take, that it would affect the children in that type of way. Because most of the time, as I stated back then, which was last year, when you say DEI, people think of work, your work environment. They don't think about schools and how that will impact
Mm-hmm.
your children and not, we talked about learning, we talked about uh, even food. We talked about, breakfast programs, different programs, resources, special education, all the things that we didn't know anything about before. Well, me. You guys are well educated in this, but not me. So I had no idea that all these things affected based upon this. And so I am so excited that you came back to share some more information. Listen, this book is going to be released on what day? What month is this volume 2, or is it out?
February 21st is our launch date.
All right, February 21st. So I get exclusive. Did you
Dun, dun,
give me
dun,
exclusive?
dun. You got the exclusive for volume one as well.
I feel so special. Thank you so much. I love that. I love that. Yes, I have an exclusive, and I'm very, very honored to have you guys. Dr. Heather Robinson. She is a leader in education advocacy and DI consulting, the founder of Anointed to Write LLC. She holds a bachelor's in African American Studies, a master's in early childhood education from Grand Canyon University, and a PhD in organizational education leadership. Well, come on. Come on with the credentials. I love that. I love that. And with you, we have Dr. Alicia Brockton. I remember you from last year as well. Did I say your last name right?
Yes.
Thank you. Because I work hard on that. I think I told you all that last year. I work very hard on making sure I don't chop up people's names. She is a Koch professor, accomplished author, sought after brand strategist, as well as a prominent radio and talk show host. So honored to have you both. So honored to have you both. And I'm honored to share this information with those who need to hear. DI Some people might have pushed it up on the rug right now, saying it don't exist. Why are we still talking about that? That's not. This new administration has kicked that out the picture, but we're still talking about it. So number one, why are we still talking about that, Dr. Heather Robinson? Why is this something that you felt we need to do a volume 2 and continue this conversation about DEI?
Well, first of all, Michelle, thank you so much for having us on here. Dr. Lisha, thank you for joining. And Mr. Hall, woo, woo. First time. This is my third time being on this podcast, but my first time seeing you with the co-host. That's, it's kind of refreshing. But so to answer your question is twofold. First, this is something that is going to always be important. The conversation continues, it's never ending. But what I wanted to do with this anthology in particular is there's three things the way that I break it down. There's
Okay.
declaration, there's explanation, there's application.
Okay.
Right. So volume 1, we declared DEI was real. We declared what it was and its impact.
Mhm.
Volume 2 is the explanation.
Okay.
So it's us delving a little bit deeper into explaining more of its impact, how it impacts in the classroom, how it impacts us individually as educators, how it impacts our students, and so on and so forth. Volume 3, which yes, I am working on volume 3 now so that it can come out in July of this year.
Okay.
That is going to be the application.
Okay.
We'll talk more about that when it's closer to this launch date.
Okay, okay, okay. So listen, so you're saying this particular volume is explaining more about DEI, which I completely emphasized last year because I was stating once again, I think there is a limited understanding. Unless you're digging into DEI,
Mm-hmm.
you don't understand how much it covers, how many areas it covers, right? So your expertise really is the level of education because that seems to be you all's passion when it comes to education. And then I learned that we weren't just talking about children, we were talking about adults because some of the people who participated also served adults, right? So
Yeah.
it's right. So it's so vast. I was not up on it like I was, but I learned a lot. That's why I was really interested. Like, okay, well, let's get more into this conversation because I feel like, I tell people ignorance is not bliss. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
So I know we say that ignorance is bliss. It's not. So I want to know more, and I know my listeners want to know more as well. Dr. Alicia, please explain to me, why did you decide to participate in volume 2?
From volume 1, it was a great inspiration to students and other educators as I was able to share the book. And I believe that diversity in education means having students and staff from different backgrounds, regardless of their race, culture, gender, religion, or their ability, in the same learning environment, and just learning from other educators. Heather is phenomenal. And, equality is more about making sure everyone has what they need to succeed, which isn't
Right.
always the same for every student. It's not about giving everyone the same thing, but recognizing when some students might need extra help. Inclusion
Yeah.
is making sure every student feels like they belong and can participate fully, no matter what they bring to the table, but being inclusive. And I feel like, as we were writing every chapter of the book, it drew people in to read more in the book and to become more educated. So that's why I chose to be a part of volume 2.
So let me ask you something. Being educators, um, do you think that your experience that a lot of students, we won't say children, but students find it that they're not uh, being included without these type of initiatives in place? Are they missing out on resources that they would have, that they should be getting based upon these initiatives if they were not in place? If these initiatives, if DEI did not exist, would these individuals be missing out on some resources and some tools if they didn't if it wasn't in place right now? I mean, if it wasn't in place, period. Dr.
I
Heather.
believe I believe DEI starts with you.
Mhm.
So, for example, and I always talk about me, because that's my experience. As a
Okay.
child, I had an IEP, but I had 5 actual sections on my IEP.
Okay.
And I talk about this a lot. I talk about this in my signature talk. I talk about this in my actual chapter this time around.
Mm.
I had a father who advocated for me.
Yeah.
So as a child in my life, that was my first experience, not even knowing of what DEI represented. We're talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, right?
Right.
And
Right.
so as a diverse learner,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the way we learn is different. You have visual learners, you have auditory learners, you have kinetic learners. There's a lot of different types of learners. That's that diversity piece. The equity piece, to kind of piggyback off the Dr. Alicia a little bit, equity is about meeting you where you are, right?
Right.
So if you're
Right.
in a classroom and I'm in a classroom and we're both in 5th grade and we're
Mm-hmm.
doing division and
Mm-hmm.
it comes easy for you, but I
Mm-hmm.
struggle,
Mm-hmm.
the teacher can't approach us both the same when they are teaching us this division.
Right.
So with equity, I'm going to meet you where you are. So I might be
Mm-hmm.
able to allow Michelle to work by herself because she gets it. But I might have to sit with Heather to
Right.
break down different ways so that she can understand it in a way that eventually she'll be able to get to the solution to the problem.
Right.
So
Okay. So I
that's
think
more.
last year we were talking about that. I don't want to cut you off, but
Hmm.
last year we were talking about that because I know of children who, back in the day when I was growing up, they take kids out the room, right? They separate them from everybody, which is not good because everybody make fun of them. Then they miss out on what's going on in the classroom. It's a lot.
Hmm.
So what I saw was they would bring people in the classroom, right? And they get to work with them. Even if the teacher's still going on, they get to sit next to them, kind of guide them and help them along the way, right? And it keeps them involved in the class. It keeps them with their peers, right? So let's just make this so simple. With DEI, someone is paying, right? Some funding is paying for someone to sit with this student, right? To help them to make sure that they're getting the same information as everybody else, and they're understanding and they're getting the same information, but at the pace that they can get it. Is that what that is?
So not even on the funding end of it, right? Because
Okay.
when you go to public school is federally funded, right?
Right.
So you have an allocation of funding. I'm looking more at, as the person that had the IEP
Mm-hmm.
and that experience being that child that was pulled out of the classroom,
Mm-hmm.
who is now a teacher, where they have different people coming into the classroom to help that child navigate within their environment with
Right.
their peers.
Right.
When I'm looking at what you're saying, I'm thinking more on that, going into the inclusion, which is that sense of belonging, right? And so you
Right.
talked about having people come into the classroom instead of pulling the child out. That's that sense of belonging. This is still my classroom. I still belong, even
Right.
though I have a buddy to help me navigate through.
Right.
So yes, we do have federal funding, but if we could take it a step further, having the people that are in place that actually are dedicated enough to care
Mm-hmm.
is more so filling in that gap, if
Right.
you allow me to say it that
I
way.
think we're saying the same thing. I think the only thing is that I was talking about regarding the state of our government now, right? And why people would say, we don't need that anymore, right? Because they think of this. You're thinking about, let's help. This child needs this or whatever. But in the end, our government is going to be thinking about this money, right? So everything is going to cost. That person sitting there is going to cost. That person helping is going to, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's what I meant when I said, I agree with you 100%, but I was just thinking about the overall what we're dealing with as well as the DEI program as well, all overall what we're dealing with right now in the state of our country. When they think about DEI, they're not thinking about what you're saying and what I just said. They thinking about, but that's costing money. because you have to pay somebody to sit there next to that child. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I was saying. But I'm saying the same that you're saying, that you want that child to be included. Like I stated, growing up, the child was pulled out, which was never good. You know, that it was never good. The child was made fun of, and it was a terrible experience for the kid. I think the kid should definitely stay into the classroom and experience the same thing. No one wants to feel like they missed out, even if it was a small tutoring thing and you didn't have that. No one wants to miss out what's going on in the classroom. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I was saying. I was talking about as far as why our government kind of targeted, especially in the educational realm, is because it's still funding. It's government funding, it's money. And I think that what I'm trying to get to is people not understanding that, yeah, we understand that it's funding coming out of our taxes, but this is something that is beneficial because your children is going to need it. It's not just your neighbor's kids, because we think, once again, we're not thinking about what you just said and what I just said, which is that your child might be struggling. They might be great at reading, but math, they're not good at, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they need someone to sit with them and work with them and take their time with them. And sometimes I think that, we think so small. We think, oh, well, it just means this. Like I stated, I thought a lot about DEI. It was mostly in the workforce, or people, personal businesses or whatever else, or sports. We thought about that, but I really didn't think about how many resources that the school system, education system uses when it comes to DEI. So that's what I meant. What else did you expound more on volume 2?
Also, even to that vein that you were talking about,
Mm-hmm.
teachers are leaving the field at rapid rates.
Wow.
They're leaving.
Wow.
There's no there's not a the administrators are saying they didn't see it coming. But when you remove the supports that
Yeah.
the teachers need with the students,
Mm-hmm.
it becomes taxing on the teachers, and teachers are leaving.
Right.
So if you are losing your good teachers, what does that do to your education field?
Yeah.
What does that do to the students who are coming up in that education field, or in that district, or in that particular school? How does that impact them, right?
Right.
So that's another facet of the support, the funding, the allocation of different programs. When you start cutting programs, like years ago, we had a lot of art programs when we were in school.
Yeah. Yeah.
They cut
Yeah.
a lot of those things. And so if you
Right.
have children who don't have nothing to look forward to,
Mm-hmm.
your dropout rates are exponentially raising, and they have
Right.
been.
Right.
You take you have to have something that these children are interested in, that they can look forward to. And if I have a speech impediment and
Right.
I feel like I'm misunderstood and I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel like I belong, I'm going to
Right.
act out. And
Yeah.
I'm going to
We
give
talked about
you
that. Yeah.
HE double hockey sticks as your
Yeah.
student. And then
Right.
it just
Right.
becomes a snowball effect. So it really impacts a lot. And when you delve into explaining the how and the
Mm-hmm.
why behind something, that's when you can start pricking at people's heartstrings.
Yeah.
That's when the light bulb goes off, like, aha, I got it.
Right.
People
Right.
don't know until they know.
Right. Uh, okay, so you just said something that I heard too, because I told you guys last year my mother was a teacher for so many years. She retired some years ago, and so that's another reason why I know about some of the resources that are needed in the classroom. To hear teachers leaving, this is such a position, a title of dignity and pride, to be an
Mhm.
educator. It was known to be, this position where, I mean, you're shaping the minds of people, whether they are young or adults, right? You're still shaping them, because even if you are doing it in a college setting, your experience as whatever field you might have been in, you come and you shape them before they go out to do whatever you did. So, for example, if you are a nurse and you're in nursing school, you're shaping those future nurses to teach them about compassion and to treat people like you want to be treated. I mean, you're sharing these type of things with your students. So now you're telling me that at a rapid rate we are losing some of our experienced
Mhm.
educators because of
Yep.
resources. Once
Mhm.
again, people won't understand that or get that until they start seeing the classrooms are double, triple in size because they don't have enough teachers in those places. Is that what you see happening as far as the classrooms of the future of the classrooms being like at a high number that one teacher cannot handle alone?
Well, they're already at a high number.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's a difference between having an educator
Mhm.
and hiring a body.
Yeah,
And so a lot of times you'll hear people say, but we need bodies.
yeah,
We don't need bodies. We
yeah,
need able bodies who are willing to put the work in. And if
yeah,
they're not, then they're pretty much placeholders. And what does
yeah.
that do for the time that they're there with the students?
Right.
It's low to no impact. It's low to no impact to the students, and it just becomes frustrating for the teacher. The teacher comes in
Yep.
every day and they're trying their best to get the kids to pay attention, and they're just frustrated at this point. So now with the youth, that's why the teachers are walking out probably at a rapid rate, because they're coming in 1995, 96, 97, in that era. They're coming in as teachers, and now they're saying, like, you know what, it's not even worth it anymore. There's something else that I can do. My passion is
Hmm.
gone from it because they have taken away all my resources, they've taken away all my tools, and then they expect me to do more.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I mean, I hear stories of those who are in the field now who are much younger, and they have zero tolerance. They won't stay for a minute. I mean, you guys probably staying for years and years and years, but they'll stay for. I mean, I literally, even if you watch social media, it's a lot of educators now on social media because that's the thing that they do, and they literally will leave in a heartbeat. I mean, just anything don't go their way. The children is too much for them. You know, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't go to school for all these years to deal with that. They don't understand,
Hmm.
the bigger picture that's going in. Dr. Alicia, what do you think about what we're talking about? I'm going to call you. What do you think about what we're talking about this as far as the educators who are leaving this very prestigious field of careers? You're shaping the minds of individuals and they're leaving. What do you think about that?
Well, it's a different generation, a different breed of children as well. We
Uh-huh.
have children raising children, and
Yeah.
respect starts at home. And
Yeah.
it's not that as educators that we're giving up on our kids, but to get respect, you have to give respect.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing no worse than being in a classroom. I've had 42 kids in an English classroom, and you have 40 kids talking, throwing papers, throwing books.
Wow.
There's nothing no worse as an educator as also dealing with students' behaviors. Um, the decrease in pay, you're not really getting paid for what you're worth. And then
Right.
also as an educator, you're doing 2 or 3 jobs because they can't find other teachers. So if you're dual certified, you're the general ed teacher, you're the special ed teacher. You could be doing the behavior specialist. And on top of
Wow.
that, in the classroom, you're also the therapist. You're dealing with kids and their emotional
Wow.
issues and problems. So in my chapter, I'm actually talking about mental health. and how a lot of teachers are leaving because it's affecting their mental health. I don't care how strong of a person you are, it's certain things you can tolerate and certain things that you cannot tolerate day in and day out. Kids are going through mental health issues. You can walk in any given school right now and you can see the white chalkboard, but you can see probably kids looking bored or curious, but you also can feel anxiety and fear and sometimes even despair in the air. Mental health isn't just about educators, but it's about educators and students as a whole. And daily, we're facing mental health issues which affect students' learning, it affects their interaction and how they view things. Like, for instance, we had a student today that actually committed suicide last night. And the student said he was put in honors classes and he couldn't keep up with the pace of that right there, and they think that was the reason why he committed suicide. But it's a daily reality that shapes how students learn, interact, and view themselves. When we talk about mental health in schools, we want to talk about the lens of diversity, equality, inclusion, because not all kids come from the same lifestyle or the same ethnic background. I think of it like as a picture of a school with a huge box of crayons. You got every color, you got every texture, you have a story behind each one. Diversity is like an array of colors. And students come in all different from different countries, ethnic backgrounds, genres, abilities, and family structures. Inclusion means making sure that every crayon is used in the drawing, including all students, that every student, no matter their story, can find a way to participate, join in, and belong. Equality means that when some crayons are worn down or missing their wrappers, they get some extra help. The extra support, the extra understanding, the adjustments that they need. Bringing these concepts into the classroom might look like a teacher ensuring every student has access to the materials that they need. So, what am I saying? Yes, as a teacher, there are challenges, but you got to also be equipped for the task. And I'm going to speak on the spiritual side of it. It takes God every day in the classroom for me to get through. And I have to remind myself that it's a part of my assignment. I went to quit so many times, and I just hear God saying, it's a part of your assignment. I'm equipping you for it. Sometimes we don't even understand how many kids we're impacting. Last year, I worked at a juvenile detention center. This year, I'm doing pre-K, so I switch up every year. And I had students that will leave, and they said, I really didn't like you at first, but you're making a tremendous difference. And when you recognize that you're making a tremendous difference, that allows you to stay. And I also think being a teacher, your mindset is everything. I think some of us older teachers may just simply be burned out, but you also have to have the mindset and the love to teach, because it's not about the money, it's about the care of the students. And I said DEI can help reduce achievement gaps by addressing barriers that help some students reach their full potential. So with DEI, we're actually helping students to reach their full potential as well.
Dr. Alicia, last time I think I told you I like listening to you. I like hearing from you. I like your experience. You can hear it come through, when you speak, you can hear your experience, that what you're going through and your passion for what you're doing. So I appreciate you so much. I just wanted something that you said about, you feel like he called you to it. And I did this message a long time ago that said, if he called you to it, he equipped you for it. So you got it. You got it. Absolutely. And I did hear what you said about behavior issues. You have to have your head in a cave or under a rock to not see the behavior issues that now, because everybody has a phone with a camera on it, what goes on in these classrooms and how frightening that is for those who are new to the field and those who are veterans in this field. So I give you all much respect for those who are sticking into that, because let me tell you, I know you did not go to school to have to learn how to protect yourselves. But unfortunately, like you stated, it starts at home. And I remember when I first had my first son, and I took him to kindergarten for the very first day. I watched one little boy who terrorized everyone in that yard, like just one little kindergartner. That it was our first day, and the first thing came to my mind was the way I raised my son. Someone did the total opposite of theirs, and that scared me because I knew I was going to leave my son, in this environment. So, I mean, although we get to see it on film now because everybody is showing it, we know that that has been an issue for a long time, but it has escalated for so many reasons. And one of the reasons that Dr. Alicia spoke on is a lot of mental health issues that our younger generation is dealing with. And we know it's not one reason, it's several reasons that has caused this to happen. But once again, I give you guys accolades for sticking in there and loving our future enough, because that's what you're doing. You're shaping our future enough to make sure that you can help someone along the way. And I think that's what we all supposed to be doing. Whatever vein you are in, we're supposed to be, helping someone along the way. So thank you so much for what you are doing. My husband, which is supposed to be my co-host over here, he has some experience, not necessarily in the educational field. And I know you spoke that some of your writers are also in the business fields and how that affect changes. But he could tell you maybe a little bit about, some of the challenges that the companies are going to face and have faced due to the changes in this new administration about DEI. So do you want to add anything, Mr. Co-host?
Um, One thing I'm listening is that with teachers, you guys go back for any type of refresher training because with DEI, I think with the newer regime, the newer teachers, if they're not getting refreshed and new training and things as things evolve as we do it in corporate America, they do the same thing. They send people back for refresher training or new training on new things that are happening so it'll better help you deal with people. We've actually gone through millennial training to better understand how to retain new employees that are coming in 19, 20-year olds and elevating them to leadership roles in a corporation so that they can understand that the impact and leading them down the path of letting them know that okay, when you're working with individuals, everybody has their own individual personality. And in leadership, you have to know the person's strength and you rely on their strengths when you're working and allow them to make those decisions, allow them to do what their strength is. And with that inclusion, they feel empowered and then you'll get more out of the people. You can't just constantly, there was an old management style, and it's a way a lot of you are seeing right now with a lot of corporations are trying to go back to that, but you have to continue to push forward and evolve into where you're including people in the decisions that are being made. Understand that it's a team. When you're working together, even when you're in the classroom, those students, each individual student has their individual role within that classroom. And if you
Yes.
as a leader actually work with those students and understanding their role and letting them understand their role, they'll feel more empowered to be able to do things. And you'll find your role being that much more simpler. When I first started in management years ago, I was one of those people that I was not a leader. I don't even like to use the term manager. I like to use the term leader because leader is a person that people will actually follow.
Right.
And that you get much
Yeah.
more done as a leader than you do as a manager or a boss.
Boss.
Though when you're a boss, you find yourself stressed out
Mm-hmm.
because you're taking on the roles of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You can do the thing, you can do it much better than the person that's already doing it because you started in this position and you may have grown up to become a manager and you started where they're starting from right now. So you feel as if you can do it that much better, but understand that you have done that role. That's not your role anymore. You have elevated to a new position on the team. Now you have to play that position on the team. I go back to a basketball thing because I'm a huge basketball fan. I'm a Michael Jordan fan. You cannot have five Michael Jordans on the floor.
No.
That's a losing team.
Yes.
That's a losing team because everyone cannot shoot the ball. Everyone cannot control what's going on the floor.
Yes.
You have to respect your role. When they had I don't know if you guys are basketball fans, but I'll tell you anyway, the best team that they were put together was with Dennis Rodman and Michael Jordan, and they all individually had their roles. And they understood what their role was. Dennis Rodman was to grab rebounds and antagonize people. That's your role. I don't want you to shoot the ball. I don't want you to do anything. That's your role. We understand where your strength lies. And that's the same thing that we have to do as individuals in corporate America, or whatever field you lie in. You have to do that as an individual, as a leader, to be able to empower your people and to let them feel empowered in their role. It'll make your life a lot
Mhm.
easier.
Okay, Dr. Robinson, I told you he's full of information and experience. So go
Yeah.
ahead and if you would like to expound on anything that he said or relating to what you guys have put together.
Mic drop.
Mic drop. I love it. I love it. Dr. Alicia, you have anything you would like to say or add to that?
It was awesome. I totally agree in the classroom that we have to allow students to be leaders, including students and decision making in the classroom, including them. The Bible says, write the vision and make it plain. So in middle and high school, I have them write the classroom rules. I have them write the consequences if they don't follow the rules. And what does it look like? And in my classroom, we had something the kids called, you know how they be saying 6 7 6 7.
Oh
So
Lord,
when
yeah.
a student does something that's not right, they be like 6 7. That means you need to correct it. But some of the things as leaders in the classroom to help with the behaviors, some of the things that I have tried is like more hands-on learning, rotating classroom roles. I've let the students be the teacher. I do a lot of project based learning. Like I've had students that are from Haiti or from Mexico. They're allowed to talk about their experiences from their country to make them feel inclusive. I've actually set up like a student government in my classroom where I had a president, I had a
Wow.
parliament, I had like a Congress, the Senate, and the House in the classroom
I
to make
like
the
that.
students included. And I saw also allowing kids to facilitate discussions. When there's
Yeah.
a classroom issue, I allow the students to facilitate the discussion in the classroom. How do we make this better? How do you feel we can make this better? What are your
Right.
suggestions? How do we make this better as well?
Right.
Peer mentorship. I know some of the students some of their skills may need to be, more advanced,
Mhm.
partnering up a strong student with a student that may have may need more development in their skills. Also, I would say communication, decision making, accountability, holding each other accountable. And I feel like as teachers that we should hold each other accountable. And what
Mhm.
does it look like by holding each other accountable and making good decisions? When I see that you're misappropriating or mistreating a child, I'm holding you accountable. Hey, that's not the right way to treat that child, but here's some
Right.
strategies that you could possibly use in the classroom. So even as
Mhm.
teachers, we're leading and mentoring each other. Some of the older teachers are mentoring younger teachers. There's tons of trainings. We have trainings all year long on culture diversity. But
Mhm.
sometimes you actually have to have the hands on. You have to have
Yes.
mentors. You have to have people to encourage you, to remind you of what it looks like. And I feel like as a teacher and as a leader, that everyone wants to be encouraged. Everyone wants to be heard. I feel like, we should encourage each other frequently. I know when I was a lead teacher last year, every week we had a teacher that was recognized for the outstanding abilities in the classroom. So by the end of the school year, every teacher was recognized. They gave input for some of the policies and procedures in our school to make them feel included. So there's a component where you're including the kids and you're including the teachers as well. But like
Right.
Mr. Rick said, everyone wants to be included and everyone wants to be a leader.
Very
But you know
good.
what?
Very
Even
good.
as just to piggyback off of something you said, um, consequence leadership is important. not just being a leader, but having consequence leadership. Understanding that even as a leader, there are consequences behind your behavior. There are consequences behind you leading
Yes.
people down a certain path.
Right.
So and when you are empowered in a role that you have, by you being empowered in that role, you also own the consequences behind the decisions, whatever they may be,
Right.
bad, good, or indifferent. You still have to own those decisions, and I think that's one of the things that we lack sometimes when we're leading people. We tend to try to identify with them and don't apply any kind of consequences. It's just like telling your child when you go out of town, say don't have a party, and you come back and they had a party, and then you tell them I said don't have a party. There was no consequences behind that, because then when you come back and they have another party all over again, it's because there were no consequences applied to it. The actually talking to them and saying, yeah, well, don't do this again, don't do that again, and saying that without any consequences, it usually reaps the same result that you had before, which is nothing being done.
Yes. Yes. Awesome. You guys see how it worked out, Heather? Did you see that? Very good. Heather,
Mm-hmm.
please explain to me why someone should invest into purchasing volume two. What message, main core, if you could just pick one core message for right now, what would you say to them?
I actually think, and this is going to take it a little broader, I
Okay.
think administrators and school districts should be ordering this to train their staff.
Okay.
Because if you go back to what Mr. Hall's talking about, and we're talking about holding leaders accountable and leading by example, and leaders understanding how to lead. If I want certain things done, I need to lead in that way. If I want a certain change to happen, I need to
Yeah,
lead and be the change that I want to see. That's a part of leadership.
absolutely.
And the educators rise, it's not just another book, right? And
Mhm.
you know, a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm doing a movement. I'm doing a movement."
Yeah.
God gave me this at a time that we weren't even where we are today.
I was going to say that. We talked about
God
that.
gave me this, and I was telling Michelle, I said, God gave me this last year,
Yeah.
well before I put it out for any co-authors to sign up.
Mm-hmm.
And what was overwhelming was the particular co-authors that signed up. In the moments that we were finishing up the book, there was
Mm-hmm.
a shift in what was happening,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
And while that shift was happening, that's when it dawned on me that it was
Mm-hmm.
more than an anthology, it was a
Yeah.
movement.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when God gives you something,
Yeah.
it's done in a divine way.
Mm-hmm.
There's no mistakes, everything lines up
Yeah.
perfectly.
Yeah.
I had no idea when I was having that little conversation with a friend of mine, and she said, "Why are you running and you know what you're supposed to be doing?" Because I had toyed with the idea of doing an anthology, particularly about education,
Right.
and I never did it. And when she pushed me, what she actually did is we were sitting there having a conversation, and I didn't know she was taking notes. And Dr. Alicia, I don't even know if I told you this. She actually she actually got the first cover made.
Mm.
She paid for the first cover to be made. She gifted that to me.
You sowed a seed into some good
We came,
soil.
listen, we came up with a concept, and I told her, "Oh, well, these colors scream education." Then all of a sudden, she sent me an email and was like, "What do you think about this cover?" And I said, "What?" And look, it was a cover. It had me on the back. It was my bio. I said, "Did you even get my bio?" But this is what happens when God orchestrates something,
Right.
right?
Right. Yes.
And this anthology actually has turned into a series of anthologies,
Right.
which, to my knowledge, this is
Mm-hmm.
the first of its kind.
Yeah, I
I
believe
don't
so.
know anyone who has done anything on DEI in general,
Right.
education,
Mm-hmm.
or anything pertaining to leaders, administrators, coaches, consultants, and
Right.
educators and leaders in the classroom.
Right. Definitely not the
When
need for it.
right. And it happened, it just happened so crazy because as soon as we started penning out the chapters and sent it off to the editors, you started hearing more and more and more of an uproar.
Yeah.
And then there was a shift. And then
Yeah.
they started, well, we're going to pull DEI out of
Yeah.
Target. We're going to pull DEI out of here.
Yeah.
And people don't understand, right? And so
Yeah.
the Bible says that my people perish for a lack of understanding. People don't
Yes.
understand what you're doing when you pull it out.
Yeah.
It's not black and white.
That's
Mm-mm.
DEI impacts women,
Mm-hmm.
it impacts children,
Yep.
it impacts what they call the minority, which we're actually not the minority, but that's a whole nother conversation for another time. But when you think about it, the the only people that it doesn't impact are the people that are trying to do away with it.
Yeah. It
Because it
even
impacts
impacts the
women,
disabled. Disabled.
right? It
Mm-hmm.
impacts women's rights.
Yep.
It impacts those who have special abilities. I don't like to
Yep.
say disabilities.
Okay.
That probably is the educator in me.
Yeah, it's
It
okay.
impacts everyone from the youngest to the eldest. Like I said, I had an IEP and I had 5 different sections in my IEP. I had a speech impediment that was so terrible, people don't believe it. They do not believe that I had any problems with my speech. You
Mm.
could not understand a word that came out of my mouth. And so this is this is personal for me.
Personal. I was gonna say that. Yeah,
It's
personal.
personal.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a passion project that turned into a movement.
I love that. A passion project that turned into a movement.
It did.
I love that. I love that. And I support you guys with this. I really do. And I'm so proud that I have gotten exclusive number 2. Waiting for exclusive number 3. I support you guys so much. And thank you all for sharing your passion, your gift, your skill, your education, all of that with us today and with my listeners today. It's been my honor and my pleasure to be able to serve you on today and my wonderful co host on the other side. I thank him so much for chiming in. I knew he would be helpful. Once again, that was a God moment because who knew it would just be us today and we needed someone else to chime in and share. And he was right on time with that. So we're very grateful for that on today. Once again,
Mhm.
this book will be launching February the
21st.
21st. Don't forget that February 21st, we will be looking for this book to come out. We want to support Dr. Heather Robinson and we want to support all the individuals that played a part in this book. And if they want to contact you personally, can you give out some information real quick for us, Dr. Heather Robinson?
Yes. anointedtowrite.com. That's ANOINTED, the number 2, right.com. Or linktree / anointed to write LLC.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Alicia Broughton. I appreciate you for being here and today. Thank you, Dr. Heather Robinson. Once again, it's always my honor and my pleasure to have you here. And Mr. Ricky Hall, I will see you in a couple of seconds. God bless you guys. And thank you for listening to Renewed Mind Revolution podcast with your host, Michelle Cook Hall. Remember, I love you, but most importantly, God loves you more. God bless you and thank you.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe. Please remember to check out Michelle's bestsellers Faith versus Fear and Breaking Family Ties. Available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.